Evening, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. Tired of Make Believe is the name of the channel. Only 879 subscribers, so if you want to give him a subscribe, the people say that all the time on the channels. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Like the video, like you subscribe and like the video if you liked the video. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what it's there for. If you liked the video, like it. If you didn't like the video, you're indifferent. Don't. But me telling you if I can like the video all the time, I mean, I just find it pointless when people do that. It's like subscribe as well. You know what I mean? If I like your crack, I'll subscribe. I like the crack, I'll subscribe. So Satan's Little Season, the Amish have known this entire time, is the name of the video. So I found it kind of interesting, just the Amish, to be honest. And again, I'm aware of who the Amish are. I'm aware of their crack in America. I don't know loads about them, to be honest. So this was a bit informative as well, like taught me something now and again. But I knew the general crack with the Amish. But yeah, I just thought it was a bit interesting. I'd never really thought about them a lot in um, conjunction with what's happening in the world, the Bible, if this is the end of days and Revelation, as much as Daniel and Matthew and la 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 la. Yeah, it's an interesting prospect. And again, there is a number in the Bible of how many people make it, and it's 144,000. So it'll be quite interesting how many Amish there are, because I'm sure pretty much all of the Amish, should all this be true, which it probably is, are going to make it, because they've pretty much, as this video says, like they've pretty much like rejected the world. And again, there is a saying in the Bible: anyone who loves this world is not of God, because the world is not of God. This world is of Satan. So the Amish definitely have turned away from society, from technology, from television, from all them sort of things, and a long time ago, as this video says. Um, so just interesting for me. That just sounded interesting, and just an interesting video. And again, if you don't know who the Amish are and what the crack is, like again, I think most people will, but maybe just not know a lot about them, like me. So I just found it interesting, to be honest. So I just thought I'd give it a play. Got tired of Make Believes, the channel, 879 subscribers. So he needs another 100 and what 21 for to monetize his channel. Help the guy along. So I don't know about any other videos he's made. I just obviously it must be a fairly new channel, I would imagine. But yeah, just interesting. I just thought it was interesting. Again, some interesting points as well. And again, I've made videos suggesting we could be at the end of the Bible here. The Antichrist could be Donald Trump. We're seeing all the signs in the seasons, etc., etc. Earthquakes, la 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 la. Although we're nowhere near, well, we are near, but we're nowhere near the complete destruction yet. Well, I mean, we maybe are, to be honest. When this false peace breaks, that's when it's all going to go to shit, according to what we read. According to what we read there, when this false peace goes to shit, it all goes to shit. So the clock's ticking. So the Amish have cracked it, absolutely cracked it long ago. Fucking figured all this out. We're sat there fucking puzzling over shit, and the Amish have just fucking cracked on. You know what I mean? Cracked on. Haven't been bothered with all the fucking news. There's no news in Amish town. They've got no televisions, and they've just cracked on and been happy. I mean, brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant idea, to be honest. Now we'll look back and we'll feel what fools we were. You know what I mean? What fools we were. We let in all the technology and we've just sat here in fucking misery now. And these fuckers are just happy as Larry. Just fucking look at him riding his horse, as happy as Larry there. Not a care in the fucking world. So let's have a listen to this.
I've been fascinated with the Amish since I was a kid. Here in Pennsylvania, they are ubiquitous. I always had respect for their conviction and not succumbing to the debauchery of modern life. My encounters have been few and far between, but they are well thought of, and locals seek them out for well-made furniture, construction projects, and of course their meats, vegetables, and baked goods. In fact, I still make a weekly trip.
Oh, you fuck off with your gremlins. Hold on. It's always my fault with this fucking PlayStation, to be honest. I should have learned by now the stupidity rising through.
up to one of their farmers markets to stock up on all the essentials. One of my rural friends owns a farm alongside an Amish community, and they've become quite friendly. So I decided to pick his brain about them. He said they are especially fair to deal with in business as well as socially. They help him out on the farm, and he provides them transportation quite often, happily. He considers them friends. What struck me as odd was when this fellow brother in Christ mentioned that they don't discuss religion with him. Several other friends have also mentioned the same when dealing with them on various construction projects. For some reason, that topic is off limits. It could be that particular order in and around southeastern Pennsylvania, Lancaster to Philly, but I'm not sure. So I decided to do some research into their belief systems. We are dealing with a people who have, as much as possible, closed themselves off from the evils of this world. A fantastic example of John 17:14-17, where Jesus instructs his followers to be in this world but not of it. They follow the words of Christ as much as possible. They don't modify them to honor Satan like we do. Here are some examples. 1. They refuse violence. So obviously government whenever possible, especially military service. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus tells us to turn the other cheek, and they adhere to that noble gesture completely. They don't even believe in self-defense. To give you an idea just how nonviolent they are, take a look at the West Nickel Mines school shooting, also known as the Amish Schoolhouse Massacre. In 2006, just outside Lancaster, Pennsylvania, in a one-room schoolhouse, a shooter killed 6 little girls in cold blood. I won't go into specifics because the details are quite disturbing, but just know that it was an absolutely horrific crime. What makes this interesting is the community's response to the murders. A grandfather of one of the girls killed in the attack instructed everyone to forgive this man on the actual day it happened. A father of one of the victims tried to calm everyone down to pray for the shooter's soul. The community then reached out to the family of the killer to comfort them. 30 members of that Amish community, including family of the victims, attended his funeral. This is a level of love that cannot even be comprehended by modern society and tells you quite a lot about who they are spiritually. 2. They work with their hands and provide goods and services for the benefit of humanity, just as God intended and quite unlike our own modern society. They have mastered this sentiment. 3. They do not take the adoption of new technology lightly. I'm not really sure why. The New Testament doesn't focus much on technology, other than Jesus instructing us to be in this world but not of it, as mentioned earlier, or John 2:15, where he instructs us not to love the things in this world. But that could apply to nature as well. I couldn't find any specific text that addressed the rejection of human invention, so it could just be part of their Ordnung. Or it could be they got it from Enoch, where wicked technologies introduced to the Nephilim from the fallen angels had destroyed the world. Maybe it's all of the above. Either way, they were correct. TV, internet, modern industry have led multiple generations away from Christ. 4. They also do not dress to impress or brag about their success, nor do they exhibit even the slightest hint of vain or prideful behavior. They wear plain clothes and no makeup. The New Testament is quite clear on this topic, as is Enoch, so no doubt as to why they don't have to think twice about it. The question is, why do we, people who identify as Christians, do it? In John 2:16 and 17, Jesus instructs us not to succumb to the pride of life. Romans 1:21 tells us to avoid vanity or empty self-centered thinking that replaces reverence for God. James 4:16 tells us that boasting and self-glorification, also forms of vanity, are very sinful. And Matthew 6:1 and 2 tells us to avoid righteous acts for vanity or public praise. These are all behaviors vacant from Amish communities. 5. They work together to improve the lives of their entire group. They don't compete with each other, as we have been brainwashed to believe is healthy and normal. If someone gets sick, the entire community chips in to pay for their health care, a far cry from our own social norms. They also ensure every member of their flock is well fed and has a home, and the entire community contributes to its construction. All the while, our own society struggles with the largest housing crisis in human history, all for the sake of greed.
Yeah, I mean, so far he's bang on, isn't he? Like that's the thing is again. That's why I've brought the video forth because he's bang on, and the way like we're none of us and none of our people, and you're seeing all this sort of Christ revival when the Tommy Robinson thing was on, and Charlie Kirk's been assassinated, and the truth still is that this Christ revival is still ultimately a sham. It's a sham in the sense of the true word of the Bible, the true word of Jesus, Yeshua, um, and living like him and denouncing the world and technology, and anyone who loves the world is not of God, they are of Satan, because Satan runs the world, as it says in the Bible. So in effect, like all this, again, what I'm trying to say is it's all just false Christianity. All our entire country, most of Europe and everything, it's all false Christianity. It's the true way really is the way the Amish are doing it. It's absolutely the right way, or for me anyway. When I'm watching this and I'm watching these people and I'm watching how these people live, and now their community is, and everything that's just been said there. And then you look at our society that's literally falling down, the stabbings and muggings and rapes and murders and you name it, the society is really falling to bits. And he's right in what he says. It's these people turned away from society because society fell down a long time ago. We've been falling for a long time here. We're still falling. But the fall started before I was born, to be honest. I was born into the fall, as a lot of us have been. To be honest, we've all been born into the fall, and that's the beauty of it. It's the fall's become normal to us. The fall has been normalized, but ultimately the Amish, their community and what they do and how they treat each other and how it's all done is the right way to do it, to be honest. And I watch this at the times and think like, how the fuck do you get over there and join these communities? Do you know what I mean? Like where everyone helps each other out, and it's like, again, it's just nice, to be honest. Just fucking nice. When you look around England now and it's all just gone to shit, it's nice to see people who still have that community and still work for each other and don't fight, and there's no arguments and infidelity, and it's all kosher, you know what I mean? It's all nice, like it's the way it should have been. And in many ways it's the way England used to be. Like when you look back to maybe the 60s or something, the 70s, well, I don't know, because I wasn't here, to be honest. I wasn't here, so I don't know. That's the beauty of it. I don't know. You're just romanticising, possibly romanticising. But it was probably still going to shit then, to be honest, with the Beatles and everything, and all that's kind of part of the plan of, again, Beatlemania, and women were going crazy, and yada yada yada. So anyhow, but the Amish, just all I was thinking is, like, look at their society. Even when it was saying about that shooting, and they fucking made everybody forgive them, and that everybody be kicking off. You know, we're kicking off here because migrants are in hotels. Don't get me wrong, they are raping women and children now and again. But yeah, again, people want revenge for them, and many people will say rightly so. You know what I mean? But that the other side of it is, if say the Bible is all true and Yeshua Jesus is all true and all this is all true, then all this revenge and anger and violence was never the way. And we were always told that, to be honest. We were literally always told that was never the way. But we done it anyway, and I just kind of feel like, as I say, it's like all this Christianity revival in the death of Charlie Kirk and Tommy Robinson's September the 13th, and some of what we've seen in Britain, and we hear people speak, but it's all very much a false Christianity for me. You're not These people aren't living the way like the Amish are, which to me is kind of the right way to live in a world that's run by Satan at this point. And again, if you've got the eyes to see, and you look around, it is everywhere. Like it's in everything. It's in music, like the music videos, music artists, all like satanic worship. We've got all sorts in subliminal messages. Like there's all sorts of madness going on, but it's all happening on the TV and on your iPhone and on technology, all of which the Amish have turned their back on. So this is why their community and their society is still in working order and still works and works together and works and it just works because they didn't let all this bullshit in that we did. We really have let even this what you're watching now, YouTube. Do you know what I mean? They probably don't have YouTube, the Amish. So it's good and it's bad in many ways. You wouldn't get to again. You've been born into the downfall here. We weren't born in the Amish community, so we kind of need some of these things to find the truth, to find the light. So it's a mixed bag in many ways. It's a mixed bag. What's happening? Number 6. It's gone all quiet. Hello?
Okay, here's where we get into it. Since the churches don't have websites, I checked out the local Mennonite congregations in my area. They are also Anabaptist, amillennialist, but broke from the Amish around 1700 and were much more accepting of modern society, or the English as they call us. They still hold similar beliefs, but since they aren't closed off, embrace technology and actually worship in churches, I can at least find their statement of faith online. That's not to say the Mennonites are the same as the rest of us. They certainly hold the teachings of Christ closer than the modern world. You typically won't see them wearing fancy clothes, and everyday sins for us like divorce are not tolerated. Shunning is very real. What I was able to discover was that they both embrace the Dordrecht Confession of Faith. It's a short read, and I recommend everyone take the time to become familiar with it. It won't be foreign to any studied Christian. There's nothing shocking. They just take the teachings of Christ much more seriously than the rest of us. It's clear they embrace the Sermon on the Mount and the Beatitudes, which is where they arrived at their stance on nonviolence, avoiding excess, vanity, and pride, among other things. What's interesting is that the Dordrecht Confession of Faith asks believers to proselytize. It states that they must confess his name before men, a clear description of public witness. This language echoes Matthew 10:32 and Romans 10:9, which are core evangelical texts. In fact, if the original Anabaptists were like the Amish of today, their own founder, Jacob Ammon, would have never converted to Christianity because he would have never have heard the words of Jesus Christ. So why would they not just ignore, but deliberately reject this part of their own faith? Well, I began digging deeper and found that they have a supplemental text to the New Testament, a book written in 1660 by Thielman J. von Bratt, hope I pronounced that right, called Martyr's Mirror. Now, this book is not a speculative prophetic text. It's a historical chronicle. But what's interesting is the tense. It regularly and readily proclaims that they are in the latter part of the millennial reign, and obviously also admits that they are closing in on Satan's little season. In fact, here's a quote from the book. "The time is near when Satan, being loosed again, will rage more furiously than ever against the saints of God." He followed that up with Satan will work under the cloak of liberty and ease. He was just interpreting Scripture but predicted the modern world perfectly. Now, many of us believe the little season began in the year we now call 1776, so roughly 100 years after this was written. This text would certainly hold true to that theory, and would also confirm that they knew that they were living approximately 900 years after the events of 70 AD. So this text, beloved by the Amish, claims that we are currently living in Satan's little season. Is that why they've closed us off? Maybe they believe it's too late to save us, so it's not even worth trying. Look at it from their point of view. They follow the teachings of Jesus Christ to the best of their abilities. We don't. You may scoff at that, but they don't modify the teachings to conform to the modern world, which has Satan's signature on everything. The Amish haven't completely rejected technology. In fact, in recent years, they've even begun to embrace cell phones, combustion engines, and electricity for work. But they don't allow it to pollute their homes. They use the necessary tools to provide for their families, as noted in 1 Timothy 5:8. But that's where it stops. For all other practical purposes, the Amish are exactly as they have been for hundreds of years. But where it gets interesting is that buggies, plows, hand tools, and even the clothes on their backs are technology, human inventions. So it's not that they reject technology, it's just that they picked a very specific period of time in which they stopped accepting new advancements. And that period of time just happens to coincide with what many of us believe to be the loosing of Satan. They could have chosen any period of time to start rejecting technology, but it looks like right around 1800, with the textiles, the steel plow, the cotton gin, etc. For such a spiritually obedient culture, the only reason I can think of for them to suddenly stop adopting new technology would be because they knew that Satan had taken control of the world. Why are the Amish closed off, hard to discuss views with if Christ repeatedly pleaded with us to spread the word, and even their own statement of faith demands it. Why did they choose a date almost 250 years ago to stop embracing new technology? It would seem like a completely random date if not for what we know today. They don't even have churches like the Mennonites. They congregate in each other's homes to worship, just as Romans 16:5 tells us to do when Christian churches become synagogues of Satan, as most have today. I think they actually know it's the little season because they behave as the Bible tells us to during this time. It makes sense knowing both their text and behaviors that they know what time this is, and they exemplify the perfect example by which we all should live. The question is, why aren't we following suit? God bless everyone.
So, that was the channel Tired of Make Believe. Thought it was quite interesting myself. I watched it before I made the video.
Imagine bringing your sci-fi
Yep.
project to life.
God damn it! I've watched the I watched it before I made the video, so it was quite interesting, really, and mentioning the Amish and a bit about the Amish, and it mentioned Satan's little season there, and again, like biblical time and Earth time are apparently quite different. So Satan's seasons couldn't have been, according to that, 1770 odd he mentioned. So 200 and odd years or something, but who knows? Who knows? Generally, I was just mentioning the Amish in that was kind of why in that video on that channel. I skipped to another channel now I've never heard of. Hold on, we'll go back. There we go. Tired of Make Believe. 911 subscribers. I think it's going up quite a bit already. 911. That's a sign right there. So I just thought it was quite interesting anyway, that want to go and sub the channel or maybe have more good videos. Thought it was quite good, to be honest. I enjoyed it. I'll leave it there. Peace.